Coming to you from the Illegal Shift Studio, it is another special edition, Sunday edition of the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast. Sound like pretty good open beer right there. First beer of the day.
It was a good one. It's like you've done that before.
And glad to be here. I'm Dan Carroll. Jason Kiefer is here. Andrew Pappas joining us remotely today. And thank God, because he's sick as a fucking dog.
Yes, sick.
So let me
so sick that he got exiled out of the state.
Let me tell you something. Both of you right now would be in the freaking hospital, so don't fuck around with me. Okay?
Hey, dude. Look, I don't want to talk about this, but
I'm showing
I've worked under some horrendous conditions.
Let me explain something. I'm showing the utmost respect for you both, and rather than being Typhoid Mary and coming over there, hey, stop. Rather than coming over here,
dogs want to be on the show.
I know. Hey. I don't know what they're doing.
Well, hold one of those little puppies up. I want to see one.
No, I'm not holding the puppy up.
Well, be nice to that beast.
Do you have a shock collar?
I'm about to take a shotgun.
Wow.
Dude, you don't understand.
Dogs are going to be dogs. Come on, Pat.
Let me tell you something. Sick or not sick. You know my life with these dogs as the sole owner or the sole provider of care? Hold on a second. Let me take care of these dogs. Tough filling. Band.
I'll just pull them out for a minute.
Are those your gaming headsets you got on?
I laid down the law.
Laid down the law, yeah, right. We'll see.
Sort of.
Sounds like it's going great, buddy.
Just like the president of Columbia, you laid down the law, right?
That's right. I'm gonna put a tariff. So anyhow, here's 5 o'clock in the morning. The dogs every morning get me up. So I've been sick. Stop, would you?
Well,
I've been sick.
You pointing at the fucking dog is not going to help it. You realize that, right?
No, he knows better than this. He saw something outside, like a I don't know, probably a chipmunk or something running around. He has a new. Anyhow, so 5 in the morning. I mean, I'm literally on death's doorstep, and I'm standing. It's quite a bit colder here than it is there, and there's a lot more snow. So picture me standing on my stoop, in slippies, while he's out there trying to just do his business at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just literally standing there freezing to death.
Well, do you need to monitor the dog's activities that closely? I mean, can't you come back inside where it's warm?
Well,
what the hell's wrong with you?
I don't want like a wolf to come steal the dog or a coyote.
Well, that's nature's way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll explain that to the missus.
And if you're on the doorstep and the dog's outside, how are you going to intervene in time for a wolf to keep from doing what a wolf does?
My voice alone is deterrence enough.
Oh, for God's sake!
Hey, okay, tough guy. Let me ask you a question. What's the screensaver on your phone look like now? What's the homepage?
I don't have a screensaver on it.
You didn't put your dog on there yet?
Oh.
Yeah, okay. I know who rules that roost.
There you go.
There we go. Oh, there we are.
What difference does it make?
That is still the stock one from AT&T.
I haven't. It is. I haven't even set it up yet.
Dan Carroll just turned on his phone.
I've got like 10 steps to do to finish the setup on that phone.
Yeah. So anyway,
we're gonna fix that.
I'm on a self-imposed quarantine because I didn't want to be Typhoid Mary down there in Cincinnati, spreading my disease all over, especially the One More and I'm Out of Here studios. So here I am. I figured if I'd be sitting in Cincinnati or sitting up here, if I got better, I could go sledding. But whatever, I'm going to probably be heading back tomorrow. So here we are.
Well, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Let me give you an example that I saw today of what I've been talking about for a long time. So I'm flipping around the different Sunday shows. And on ABC this week with Stephanopoulos. Stephanopoulos wasn't on, but Martha Raddatz was on. And they had that fat fucker on from New Jersey, Chris Christie. What's your opinion of Chris Christie, by the way, Andrew?
Chris Christie is so freaking irrelevant and should just fade into the ether. It's not even funny. But he's gonna be, the resident former Republican or quasi-Republican that hates Trump that they're going to now turn to on every news network. So you probably should get.
Yeah, well, he's been buttering his bread for the last 6 years by hating on Trump.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's been buttering a lot of bread. And a lot of bread, a lot of
garlic bread.
Yeah, when he dropped out of the presidential primary, he couldn't wait to be the first one on his knees worshiping his cock. And now he's, trying to be, just out there hammering Trump every chance he gets. So anyway, so the discussion turned to birthright citizenship. And Trump, as you know, put out in one of his many presidential orders, the executive orders that he put out this week, was to put a stop to birthright citizenship. And so there's a debate that's going to happen now. And there was a judge in Seattle who was appointed by Reagan, as if that's something important that people need to know. But this judge struck it down, a temporary injunction for 14 days. So it's going to move up the system. It's going to probably wind up in the Supreme Court about whether or not this executive order can stand, talking about the 14th Amendment. So when they were debating this on ABC this morning, they were essentially saying that it's unconstitutional. That's the end of the story. As a viewer, there's nothing else you need to know. Trump is wrong. Chris Christie is right. All of our experts here at ABC News are right, and Trump is wrong, and he's going to lose this one. So then I turn on Fox News, and they're debating the same subject. But instead of saying that the issue is closed and there's no debate, much like you might recall they did the same thing in global warming. You might recall Al Gore saying, the science is settled, there's no debate, global warming is happening. Well, this is much the same tack that the left is taking on this issue with the 14th Amendment. But on Fox News, they recognize that there's people who have a different point of view, that the 14th Amendment talks about people who give birth in the United States and are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. And that is where the whole notion that you can come into this country, be here illegally, give birth to a crumb cruncher, as Rush Limbaugh used to call him, a little kid, and then all of a sudden you've got the kid's got citizenship status, and they can extend that to the rest of the family and start creating chain migration. Well, there's a lot of people who have a problem with that. So at least on Fox News, they recognize there's different sides of the debate, instead of just coming out and saying it's unconstitutional and that's the end of the story. So and that's why I constantly talk about the media and where people get how people get their information and where they get their information. So if you're getting your information from one set of national media, ABC, NBC, CBS, you're not going to have a chance to hear the whole side of the story, because all they want is their one narrative out there. There can be only one narrative, and that's the only one. But at least on Fox News, they were recognizing that there's different viewpoints on this story.
No, there's no doubt. Listen, I'm with you on that, and I'll tell you this. The sad thing is that Donald Trump has been in office a week tomorrow, okay? And he's already done, honestly, the way he's governing, the way his administration is shaping up, the way they're conducting business is light years ahead of the way it was conducted last time. They are exuding confidence, competency, and purpose. And I am, I'm not going to get hung up on any one thing that he may do. Like I've seen some conservative, quote unquote conservative friends of mine that are like, oh, these blanket pardons for the January 6 people were terrible because some of those people attack cops. I also saw some very good analysis of that. And although there were some people in there that did assault police officers, it looked like the vast, vast majority of those pardoned really didn't do anything. And still were wrongly held for obscene lengths of time. And the ones that did commit crimes were still held for lengths of time that probably were sufficient to the crimes that they committed, assaulting the police officers. Look, no one is a bigger supporter of police than me, right? But I'm not going to now abandon the Donald Trump train per se because of that one, because there might have been a smattering of people in there that didn't deserve the pardons. I mean, I'll ask you, if there's 1,600 people or 1,500 people that were pardoned and 5 in that mix were probably questionable or shouldn't have been pardoned, playing the odds, I say those are pretty good odds, don't you?
No, absolutely. And
yeah, so I mean, that's
a lot of these people, and somebody brought it up in the chats, was there were some people that rejected their pardons. They're like, no, I fucked up. I did this.
That's fine.
And I don't want the pardon.
But my point is if you watch, like Dan said, if you're watching the mainstream media, okay, and you are getting it just from ABC, NBC, or any, God forbid, any of the papers, especially the local one, you're going to be sadly misinformed, and you're going to come away with just the wrong perception of where this country's at, where this administration's at, and what's going on. I think, for example, like, Dan is over here talking about things that that the press is saying were absolute truths, like, oh, this is absolutely not constitutional. Trust me on this one. I'm the expert. Were these the same media? Was this the same mass media that was saying, oh, COVID was not originated in a lab. It didn't come from China. It was from a wet market. Fauci said it was from a wet market. It's probably a natural occurrence. Even though everybody was saying, not everybody, but there was a significant number of people who were saying, hey, listen, all the markers of this thing have the sayings that this was actually created in a lab. Now, let me ask you this. What did we just find out this week? What did we just find out about COVID?
That it was created in a lab, and I was trying to pull that fucking story up, and
well, it's the
I was going to roll into it.
It's the official position of the CIA now that that the Wuhan was created in the lab. But just to wrap up this thought on what you were talking about with the January 6ers, the narrative now is that since Trump gave a pardon to these people, now we are to expect a wave of violence from all these individuals who assaulted these police officers on the Capitol at January 6th. Here's the thing. We know, and the FBI admitted to it a few weeks ago, that they had multiple assets in the crowd on January 6th that day, at least 26 that they admitted to. And there's probably a lot more than that. How many of these people that were involved in some of the initial clashes that got the ball rolling when it came to, and look, I am not excusing anyone touching a police officer, assaulting a police officer in any way, but how many of them were FBI assets? How many of them were agitators that were paid to be in that crowd to do what they did? I would imagine there's quite a few of them. And the thing is, Andrew, and Jason, how many Trump events have you been to, witnessed, seen where there's no violence at all? Absolutely none.
Yeah. And
the place is cleaned up when the event is over. This is not what Trump supporters do, and everybody knows it. So this phony narrative, and Lindsey Graham, that piece of crap, was out there feeding into that narrative today, and he was on one of the Sunday shows, and Lindsey Graham is out there, well, I think it was a mistake, we're going to have a wave of violence, and he's going along. Lindsey Graham just needs to shut the hell up.
Is this the same FBI that also orchestrated the pretty much now admitted setup of the kidnapping of Michigan Governor?
The Michigan Governor, yeah.
Whitmer?
Absolutely.
What do you call it? Gretchen.
Gretchen. But here's the deal. At the end of the day, no one will excuse the violence that, you and I, Dan, same page, Jason, same page. No one would excuse the violence of January 6th, okay? But crowds can be led, and that's why I don't like necessarily being in large crowds often if I can help it, because they can turn. And a few people agitating and directing the crowd and creating the initial violence will create so much more. And the FBI has not come clean on this. They've admitted a little bit, oh, no one was there, and now a few people were there. And then remember Ray Epps? Whatever happened with Ray Epps? Remember, he was over there. Let's go to the Capitol. Let's go inside. They're
giving you just enough. They're giving you just enough to I'm paying attention to it, but never mind the man behind the curtain over here.
So until we have a full accounting from the FBI of how many assets were there and what their jobs and what their roles were and what they actually did, how can the people involved in those very same instances, in that very same incident, be held liable? That's my point. You are being led by the FBI creating the narrative for you, and then you're feeding into it. And that's what Lindsey Graham and the media is doing. So, yeah, listen, it's been a week. I have been so pleased by the performance this administration's done. And you know what? The other thing that is just so unbelievably refreshing, we have news conferences again. Oh my God. The The president is
hearing from our president.
He's in front of the cameras every day. But just to follow up on the whole Wuhan. Here's Front Page Magazine. Daniel Greenfield, who's an outstanding writer, writes this: there was a time when simply mentioning that COVID-19 came from a Chinese lab, it got you banned on Facebook and YouTube. Now the CIA's endorsement of the lab leak theory is now the official view. Notably, the FBI already supported the lab leak theory. So did figures in Defense Intelligence Agency. But an official link to the World Health Organization, which Trump just withdrew from, managed to bias the official intel community assessment. The CIA assessment isn't even a product of the new Trump administration. It took place under the Biden administration, but it's only being released now by the new incoming Trump administration team. So this, this whole notion of that we still don't know about the Wuhan, there is so much evidence. And Andrew, you saw the report that Brad Wenstrup put out, talking about the whole lab leak theory and the gain of function and all the rest of it.
We were lucky enough to have him on before those hearings happened, but we were trying to get him on after the fact, after the hearings.
Yeah, he's still around. Maybe we'll get him on one of these.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
But that's the thing. I mean, now it is now the official government position that this was a lab leak, and there's got to be more investigation on this.
But that raises a good question.
Turn our head and let Fauci go and act like, it's all good now. And by the way, Fauci can pay for his own fucking security.
That raises a question I have, and I'm not an attorney, nor do I particularly ever claim to be one. But if it is the official position of the CIA, and I agree now that the lab leak, the Wuhan Chinese flu was created in Wuhan, is that not infer liability? So then can China now be sued by people for damages? Interesting theory.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We were the ones who were paying for it, though.
I understand.
U.S. taxpayer dollars.
I'm just thinking there should be a lot of maybe attorneys lining up. I can wait to see the late night TV commercials. Some of them jump to mind. Maybe we need, what's that guy, the Hammer? The one I see on the buses. You've been hurt by the Wuhan, call the Hammer. But I mean, it's just hilarious to me how people just like you said, Dan, they see it on ABC, CBS, NBC, and they take it for gospel. So, no, it wasn't a lab leak. No, it was natural. And now they're going to be like, look, they changed their mind. It was a lab leak. And guess what? Trump was right. You think they're going to come to that conclusion? Think they're going to say that?
No,
probably not.
No,
hell no. But
so like with starting this podcast, when we first started this, I mean, it was, kind of a funny idea. Okay, let's do it. And then all of a sudden,
right there, established in 2022. Right there.
And we decided, let's do it. Dan obviously is way more, being a media guy, is way more versed in these fields. But I've found now, throwing shit out on the internet, and I'm not right all the time. I'd never claimed to be, but I try to fact check on multiple sources. So I'm not just on Fox. I'm not just on CBS. I'm not just, whatever, CNN. I try to go across all of them to see how they're bouncing back and forth. Because if one's got a story, the other one's got a story to either, walk it back or whatever. But I found myself trying to get a little bit better with that. But to your point, Andrew, you're completely right. Is some people will just drive home. Well, it was said here, and this is it.
Yeah, and George Stephanopoulos, if I'm not mistaken, he just settled a lawsuit for slanderous comments against Donald Trump, and I don't even know why they still have that guy on the air. Probably because they did his contract right before he got slapped with that suit, and I don't even think the damages section of that suit have been decided yet. That was just the punitive, or they're going to do. The damage part is usually bigger, and I think that's coming up this month. So I hope. Listen, it pains me that I share some semblance of ethnic similarity with that troll, but that midget of a human being really pisses me off every time I see him. And he's on. They always have him on. At least when I've when I've turned on the TV in the morning. He's on Good Morning America, and I'm just like, they have him smiling like he's George Stephanopoulos is a partisan hack, always has been, has no place doing the news because he's nothing more than a James Carville, a shorter version of James Carville with hair without the Cajun accent. That's pretty much all he is.
Well, you wonder if these people in the news media are ever going to learn their lesson, and we've got a perfect example of that, and we've got the soundbite from this morning. Tom Homan was on this week, the George Stephanopoulos show. Martha Raddatz was hosting this morning, and so Martha Raddatz starts talking about, and look, I mean, ICE agents, they raided places in on the East Coast, places there have been raids that happened in Los Angeles, raids that have happened all over the country, where they are rounding up all kinds of illegals and they are shipping them out. And we'll talk in a little bit about the story about what happened with the president of Colombia, and how he tried to stand up to Trump, and when we see how that worked out.
It's just two parts of my parlay.
Oh, there you go. All right, so the Daniel scoring a touchdown. So you're going to be flush with cash then tonight, right?
Potentially.
All right, that's good.
Potentially.
But,
we need a couple other things to hit.
Andrew, listen to this. Is about a little over 2 minutes of Martha Raddatz and Tom Homan having at it today on ABC News. So let's go ahead and hear that.
I want to go back to who you're deporting. Aside from the long list of executive actions, the administration said it will no longer tell ICE agents they have to avoid sensitive locations, including schools, hospitals, churches. Benjamin Huffman, the acting Homeland Security Secretary, said in a statement, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. What criminals are hiding in schools? Middle schools, elementary schools. You going to go into those?
How many MS-13 members are aged 14, 17? Many of them. So, look, if it's a national security threat, public safety threat, and what you need to understand is a case by case. Name another agency, another law enforcement agency that has those type of requirements that they can't walk into a school or a doctor's office or a medical campus.
Bingo.
These are well-trained officers with a lot of discretion, and when it comes to sensitive location, there's still going to be supervised review. So it's not like it's an open issue, but ICE officers should have discretion to decide if a national security threat or a public safety threat is in one of these facilities, then there should be an option for them to make the arrest.
But someday you could go into those schools and grab people who are just in the country illegally.
On a case-by-case basis, depending on who they are, what the circumstances are.
Which is fair.
It's never a zero game.
You know that this creates fear in the immigrant community.
Sorry about your luck.
The chair of the U.S. Conference of Bishops Committee said turning places of care, healing, and solace into places of fear and uncertainty for those in need while endangering the trust between pastors, providers, educators, and the people they serve will not make our communities safe.
Well, here's I think, if Congress has a job to do, we're enforcing the laws Congress enacted and the president signed. If they don't like it, change the law. I find it hard to believe any member of Congress is telling us not to enforce the law that they enacted and they fund us to do.
But opening up to anyone who's in the country illegally and going into schools and grabbing them, does that kids, adults?
The message needs to be clear. There's consequences for entering a country illegally. If we don't show there's consequences, you're never going to fix the border problem.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So there's Tom Homan telling Martha Raddatz what it's all about, and so look what she's doing.
I apologize for the echo. My bad, guys.
She wants to create this. She wants to create this narrative that, oh my God, you're going to go into schools and churches where these people are hiding and get them out, and you're gonna create fear. And Tom Homan's like, well, hey, that's where they are,
right?
Hey, what are we supposed to do? Say, oh, you're hiding in a church. You're illegal. You're here. You're a convicted criminal. We don't want to violate the sanctity of the church, for God's sake. And how about the Pope telling Trump that his policy towards the illegals is immoral? I mean, have you heard about the wall around the Vatican? Do you know what the Vatican's policy is when it comes to illegals setting foot in their territory?
Well, Dusty Rhodes had posted, and God bless Dusty. He's the only rational Democrat that comes to mind. But listen, Dusty Rhodes posted the response that Tom had to the Pope, and it was absolutely perfect. Did you guys see it?
I did not.
Okay,
I didn't see what Dusty Rhodes posted.
Dan, forgive me, but I'm
going to put it on Facebook.
Well, do I put everything on Facebook? I mean, that's a pretty.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go straight to hell with this on a rocket train, probably. But listen to Trump talk about that bishop, the female bishop, when
that's great.
When she blew him up about Mr. President.
Yeah,
you need to think about blah 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 blah, and fucking gibberish.
You know what? And that is the church. They're funny. They have a church. Same church on Beachmont Avenue has a lot of signage that you and I talk about often. Yeah. But here was Tom Homan's response to the Catholic outcry. Homan told the Pope to fix the Catholic Church before he starts criticizing the United States. Let me give a message to the Pope guy. I just love that part.
The Pope guy.
That's right, the big hat guy. I'm a lifelong Catholic. I was born Catholic. I've been through Catholic doctrine. Look, he ought to concentrate on fixing the Catholic Church. First of all, he's got big problems there. He ought to stick to the Catholic Church and fix that. They have a wall around the Vatican. And if you illegally enter the Vatican, the crime is serious. You'll be charged with serious crime and be jailed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he can protect the Vatican where he lives, and he can build a wall where he lives, but American people are not allowed that. Pope ought to stick to the Catholic Church and fix that. That's a mess. You know what? It's straight up. Absolutely
absolute hypocrisy, and I love it. I mean, fucking Homan. And we said it, when we knew that Trump said that that's who he wanted. That guy's a fucking bulldog.
He is,
and he is not going to stop.
And they had also I think they had either set up a fake nightclub or they raided an after-hours nightclub in Aurora, Colorado, and caught several of those Venezuelan gang members.
50 arrests made. I saw that story earlier today.
Says maybe fix the image of priests fucking young boys before they tell America how to run the country.
That's a thought.
Hey, that's a thought. Let me tell you something. You know, one of the biggest groups in Cincinnati that's been involved in this migration is what? Catholic Charities.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to be surprised when you see an outcry of crocodile tears coming from quote unquote the Catholic Church or some religious or even the Episcopal Church with their rainbow priestess.
Well, that's where JD Vance went today, because JD Vance was on a Sunday show today too, and he was asked about that. And JD Vance is a Catholic kid, and he said, "Look, they're wringing their hands now and crying because guess what? All the funding to these Catholic NGOs is getting cut off. Trump has cut all that crap off."
Good, as it should be.
Yeah. So I mean, are they really worried about these exploited and missing kids? Are they really worried about these women who are getting raped? All the dead bodies that were piling up on both sides of the borders? I don't think so. Are they worried about their bottom line and this gravy train that they've been on for the last 4+ years? I think that's what they're worried about.
Yeah. Gravy train's a perfect analogy for that.
And I'm always going to keep coming back to this. It's day 7. I mean, it's day freaking 7. This administration is going to be epic, and I'm so happy. So I ask people that voted for Trump and then might be saying, and I don't know that there's many, but someone might say, "Oh, I can't believe you. I didn't know that he was serious about Greenland, or if he is serious about Greenland, or whatever." Let me tell you something. While you might not agree with everything the guy's going to do, there's not going to be anyone you would agree with. But I ask you, just soundly look at overall 7 days. I give him. I mean, let's just give him a week 1 rating. I give him an A+ right now. A+ all day long. I feel like Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy doing the pizza review. One bite, everybody knows the rules. Here's the deal. Everyone knows the rules. Right. I give Donald Trump an A+, flat out A+. I don't know how he could have done better. If you think of a way, please say it in the comments. I'll be happy to, have an open mind and listen to you. But A+, because the guy is going to be crucified no matter what he does. And gosh, do we need to bring up his interview? He goes out to California. He sits down in the middle of all these Democrat roundtable.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Did you see that? That was amazing. And that roundtable was amazing.
Toe to toe with these people. And then he just eviscerated the mayor of Los Angeles, just made her look like a complete nut. Not that it's hard, but made her look like a complete
I was going to say, hold on, we've already done that as well.
I know. But I mean, it's only 7 days, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? We've got so much more to go. And his energy level, the man is 78 years old. Everyone's like, oh, he might be 202. He's too old to be president. Dude, I barely was able to frickin', drink a glass of water the last 2 days. I've been so laid up. And this guy has the energy level of a teenage boy.
Did you see the rally in Las Vegas yesterday? That was amazing too. He was having a great time, man.
Well, and I think we talked, with the inauguration, like that day, just that day alone, with all the pomp and circumstance, that guy probably got up at fucking 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Went through the morning, went through the inauguration, had all the balls that he had to go to,
a lot of balls.
Well, hair and makeup takes a while.
A lot of balls.
You don't.
He probably didn't go to bed until fucking 3 in the morning. So I would guess that he was probably up for 24 hours, but you would never guessed or thought. Everywhere he was at, he was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
Let's compare that. Let's just compare that to a few short weeks ago and any event that Joe Biden had to go to or appear at. Let's just do a brief comparison for everyone that's already forgotten what we just went through.
Right. Yeah, the only thing I would say about this week, I think he had a couple of unforced errors, and I think I think the one is I wish he would have. I think he could have spent a little time filtering out some of the ones that we know for sure. That were involved on, the January Sixers.
Yeah,
that were involved with assaulting police, and if he just even had a handful of examples to say, look, we know this guy, and we're involved with assaulting police. They didn't get pardons, but here's the ones. So at least if they could have shown they made a little bit of effort there to filter them out, I'd be happy with that. And then I think it was Saturday night. Or it might have been Friday night. He fired 17 different inspector generals of different agencies of the federal government. That it gives a lot of ammunition to the Trump haters out there because they're going to talk about how it's unconstitutional. You got to give 30 days notice and all this kind of stuff. So I think that might have been an unforced error too. But if there's something between an A and an A plus, that's kind of where I would fall. On
Jason, how about you? What
just shy of an A plus.
I would. I kind of lean with Dan here. I don't think it was an A plus, but it's definitely an A. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I was trying to find it.
A rising A.
I was way behind. I was way behind the curve today, fellas. So
a Cialis filled A. How about that?
There's a joke in there somewhere.
I had a long weekend this weekend, so I'm a little bit behind the eight ball. But I pulled this article and I sent it to both of you. But I think
just looking to see what my trade was worth. Right?
Like Trump's federal DEI purge puts hunters on leave, nixes $420 million in contracts.
I love that.
I mean, what the fuck? $420 million in contracts of shit that we didn't need to have anyway.
Right.
And did you see, Andrew, did you see the video of the gal who posted after Trump canceled all the DEI stuff? And this was on Wednesday or Thursday. And she's looking at the camera and she's like, well, I was supposed to go to whichever government agency today and do my DEI training, but it's been canceled. And she's going on and on. And she's like, almost in tears, talking about how she's got to find a new job now because, her government contract has been canceled. No more DEI training for you.
Guess what? There's a new fucking sheriff in town.
Life comes at you fast sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, shit happens, so get used to it.
Yeah, fucking. I mean, and the fucking ass clowns that fucking ascribe to that, I just don't understand it. But I didn't realize what that number was. And when I saw that article, I was like, wow, holy shit. And to your point, 6.5, 7 days in.
Shut it down, baby.
Look, and there's so much more things that are being done that we don't necessarily make the news, right? That are going on also under the radar, behind the scenes. And the tone, the actual whole tone of this government, this administration, is such a positive vibe. Not if you're on the left, but I mean, Americans are hopeful again. Americans are positive. They're looking forward to the future again. You know what? All these companies are canceling all their DEI bullshit, and we're having a big reversal. Although I did see a commercial for Verizon, and why anyone would have Verizon after the commercial I saw, I have no idea. But Dan, I think you have Verizon. At the end of the day,
Yes, I do.
well,
I don't know why.
the commercial was kind of weird because everyone's moving in the opposite direction. Verizon had a huge DEI commercial today, and I just was puzzled by it. But look, things are changing, and yeah, politics is momentum. Politics, the pendulum swings in both directions. I'll give you that. But I'd like to remind everybody, if you're thinking Donald Trump's some very hardcore conservative, that's really not the case. He's a populist, and I think that Donald Trump just is reading the tea leaves, and he sees that America is, overall, he's going to make more conservative opinions and more conservative rulings and leanings and directions than anyone else in politics would have done at this time. So I'm happy. I'm very happy, and I'll stand behind my A+ thing because nobody's perfect. So given the pressure of office, given the fact that everyone's looking for every reason to cut him a new one, I think that he's doing a great job, and he's just not putting up. And need I remind you,
2 years, Andrew, take the last 2 years. I mean, he's gotten fucking rolled through the fucking coals.
And need I remind you, he released the Army Corps of Engineers and Army Reserves to go help those poor people who are now finally getting help in Western North Carolina that have been ignored. He even brought, need I remind you, it did actually, what happened in California today? What happened in LA today? Does anyone know what happened?
You're going to tell us?
It rained.
It rained.
Because Donald Trump went there. That's it. End of story.
Donald Trump brought the rain.
Yeah, but if there's a mudslide in California, that'll probably be his fault too.
And that'll be his fault. It's exactly.
Here you go. I'll actually, Andrew, I'll throw a couple of headlines at you that you may not have heard about what Trump did. And I got a couple of great ones here. Let's see. Well, first of all, his net positive approval rating is up all across the country, even in New Jersey. He's got a favorable approval rating of 41% in New Jersey right now. So that's pretty good. Trump says we are going to get answers on the mystery drone sightings.
I did see that one
in New Jersey and other places. As he says, we're going to get answers on that. So that's good. Trump has also withdrawn the FDA menthol cigarette ban. Remember Biden was going to ban menthol cigarettes?
Yeah.
And so Trump has withdrawn that. And then one of my favorites of the day is that there's a White House website that is written in Spanish language. The Spanish language version of the White House website has been taken offline. So,
well, I mean, hey,
so when
I
you
didn't even know there was such a thing.
So when you went to go look for the White House Spanish version website, it said page not found, and then it said go home.
Well, did
so,
you?
It was supposed to say go to the home page, but it just said go home. So there's a bunch of libtards out there that got their panties all in a wad about that.
You didn't even mention he's going to release, or I think he already has. I haven't seen the official report. He's going to release the JFK files.
Yeah,
JFK,
RFK, and then Martin Luther King.
But that's a horse of a different color there, because that one's going to have to go through a lot of different eyeballs before they get those things really. Probably going to be heavily redacted.
Well, let it be redacted. But you know what? I mean, how many years has it been, Dan? I mean, my God, if the United States government was involved in this, which I suspect they probably were on some level, then the people, your American citizens, have a right to know.
Yeah,
I mean,
Lyndon Baines Johnson was a fucking dirtbag.
No question. No question.
He had a big hog, from what I've heard.
He did a news conference one time when he was taking a dump.
Yeah, taking a shit.
He was on the shitter.
You do have to be a pretty big fucking dirtbag.
I did not know that, but I have to tell you, on one hand, I'm very impressed by the fact that he had the balls to do a news conference from the crapper. That's all I'm going to tell you. Now, right now, I don't have a flag in the crapper. I am not sitting in the crapper, nor do I have a lamp in the crapper.
I do like your backdrop, by the way. I like that flag. That flag is nice.
I have flags everywhere. Flags all over the place.
Oh, well, I have no doubt about that, but this is the first version of you this way that I've seen. I like that.
Well, I don't have the. I didn't bring my Glamour Shot LED lights with me. I need to get those set up here so I can do remote and better.
All right. Have you heard about the new?
Catherine Smith, who haven't seen her in chats much, but she goes, I call that multitasking.
It is,
and you know what?
multitasking.
I completely concur.
Have you heard about the new term for that was made up by an ACLU lawyer for transgender rights activists?
Oh fuck!
This dude's name is Chase Strangio, who is transgendered himself or herself, whatever the case may be. And now they've got a new term referred to a biological woman as a non-transgender woman. So a biological woman is a non-transgender woman. As opposed to,
I have to walk that back.
I can't. I don't understand.
I know. I mean, it's just why can't we just go with front hole or no front hole? I'm
fucking pulling up some old shit. I love it. The front hole.
Well, didn't
that's how sophisticated these arguments have become.
Didn't a woman? Wait, hold on. I got to think about how to phrase this. Didn't a man pretending to be a woman just get nominated for Woman Actress of the Year?
Yes.
Yeah. That's really fair to the other women that put in the effort. Is
it for an Oscar or one of the other awards?
I don't
follow all the award ceremonies, but I saw that headline.
It would be for something that I could give less than two shits about. However, it just seems like what an absolute, again, just a glaring display of, hey, that sounds really fair to all the other women that were trying for this award. Why not nominate him as a man? Why not say, well, we're going to give this guy an award because he played a woman really well. I mean, for that matter, they should posthumously give, who should win the award for pretending to be a woman in a movie? Robin Williams played a great woman. Yeah, played a great woman.
Yes, this is Doubtfire.
Great flick. But I guess that was, way ahead of its time.
I think I'm sending this to myself now, but I think I sent it. I don't know if I sent it to both of you two or not, but I'm going to play this once it comes through, but just to lighten the mood a little bit, but it's funny as shit. And I think you'll both enjoy it.
Hey, we didn't even get to some of the good shit.
Oh,
I got something for you.
We haven't gotten to half the good shit. Here, hold on. I think I sent this to both of you. And if I didn't, I apologize. And you're watching it right now. It's great.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That is nuts. Barely see this transition.
The fucking hot was they always call her
Barely
Big Mike.
see it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, they've been naming her for a good while. She's a dude. Yeah, that is nuts.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's probably fake.
Just two
probably
dudes.
A fake video.
Still funny though, but it still looks a lot like her.
Well, I guarantee you that
He said it's not Michelle, it's Michael.
I couldn't resist. I saw it the other day. I thought I sent it to both of you, but
Andrew, that happens on dinner dates with you all the time, doesn't it?
we are so going to get flagged now. We're going to get so deplatformed. It's not even funny.
we've already been there before. Whatever.
That brings up another rumor. Like the two rumor mills going around is that Barack Obama is dating Jennifer Aniston, and the Obamas are about to get divorced. Interesting. I didn't know that, but whatever. That rumor is flying around the internet pretty hot and heavy. And the other one is that Kamala and her spouse are about to be on the outs because she blames him for her loss. Interesting. I didn't see that during the campaign. They keep that pretty well hidden, didn't they?
Well, what did he do? The call her to lose.
Maybe Imhoff and Paul the Love Hammer can fucking get together.
Oh God. I will say, listen, your thoughts on Michelle aside, I will say from all the photographs that I've seen through the years of Michelle Obama, the one that Barack released, the one that one has just been, further delved into that Jason just shared, was probably the least complimentary photograph of her I've ever seen publicly released. And I did question as to why it was done that way. I was like, somebody wasn't doing their job right. So their PR, their PR person, whomever, I'm not sure, but I was like, when I saw that picture, I was like, oh. I was like, Oh,
Fucking James McGee said she's a terrible dude.
But hey, you know what? There's a reason, and I think all those rumors are swirling because that was pretty much the reason that she said she was not going to the inauguration. It was not because of Trump per se. It was because she didn't want to be around Barack anymore. It might lead credence to that. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That throws a fair
this
question.
is so far down on my list of things to care about.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I could care less. However, the left holds Barack Obama up as some sort of saint. And, if the saint has a chip in his armor, I guess it's the job of the press to exploit it. His personal life is his personal life. And what Barack Obama says and does now really doesn't bother me in the least. I don't listen to him at all. But they have so few spokesmen on the left to even go to anymore that they're always going to fall back to the great and mighty Barack Obama. I guess.
You think Barack Obama has realized that he's lost his juice? Do you think that has struck him yet?
I don't know. I mean, if he's sleeping with Jennifer Aniston, he probably feels pretty good about himself, don't you think?
He's not the first one to climb that mountain, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't know if he is. I mean, I don't know her history, whatever, but let's just say that he is sleeping with Jennifer Aniston and it comes out. I mean, would you say he's probably not thinking, hey man, I'm doing pretty good. This is it. Well, I'll be there for you. He's watching Friends.
Fine. I would definitely take Jennifer Aniston over Big Mike.
But so Barack can score with the ladies, but I'm talking about the political juice, man. It ain't what it used to be.
Oh no, I agree with you. His political this election especially has shown that his ability to sway even African American vote was very limited at best, and they tried everything. God knows at the end they were grasping at straws, trying to reach any way they could to try to avoid this train wreck. But the inevitable happened, and it couldn't be helped.
Well, I want to do my my public service portion of the podcast now.
We didn't get to one thing, and I really think we should touch on it before that.
We still got 15 minutes left. We're good.
Okay, all right. Well, that's fine. Let's get
What's
to the
that? What didn't you get to?
Well, I don't want a lot of liberals today. I saw so much liberal chatter talking about how Trump we're going to start a war because Trump is threatening this against Colombia and blah, 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 blah. And Trump's a bully and got his feelings hurt because they turned a plane around. And lo and behold, not 15 minutes after Donald Trump says, you know what, you're screwing with the biggest country in the world and we've got a huge stick and I'm going to fricking threaten you with it. What happens? The Colombian president folds like a cheap goddamn suit. And instead of us having to fly these people home, guess what? He's sending Colombian planes to pick up these people and take them home himself.
Here's what Trump said. He said, if the president of Colombia doesn't want to play ball, he says, here's what we can do on our end. Emergency 25% tariffs on all goods coming into the United States. In 1 week, the tariffs will be raised to 50%. A travel ban and immediate visa revocation on the Colombian government officials and all allies and supporters. Visa sanctions on all party members, family members, and supporters of the Colombian government. Enhanced customs and border protection inspection of all Colombian nationals and cargo on national security grounds. And the Treasury and banking financial sanctions will be fully imposed. So, after the Colombian president pretended he wanted to play hardball with Trump, that's what Trump said. And then the next thing this guy says, well, I've got my private jet. I'll send it to pick these people up. So the president, the El Presidente of Colombia, is sending his private jet, which is a 737, to transport some of these illegals back to Colombia.
And everybody that gets your cocaine from Colombia, there's going to be tariffs, just so you're aware.
You know what? It is so great to have a president that says, do you know who you're screwing with? You're screwing with the United States of America. And we don't have to threaten you militarily. I mean, that's not what we're...
Presidente Gustavo Petro.
I think Gustavo ate a big piece of turd because Gustavo did the math and said, maybe I shouldn't have said what I said, and maybe I shouldn't have turned those planes around. And look what happened. He's sending his own planes. And Donald Trump, without the threat of any military violence or anything like that, he just said economic violence, his favorite tool Dan, we talked about it. Jason, we talked about tariffs. One of his favorite sticks that he likes to hold over countries. He said, that's fine. Boom. This is what's going to happen. And the guy said, oh, shit. My country's going to go down the toilet. I can't have that happen. Yeah. I'm so glad that Donald Trump is in office, because I'll tell you right now, if Joe Biden or Kamala Harris had won the election, I'll tell you right now, top three things. First of all, I could tell you for a fact, ICE wouldn't be rounding up these people.
Absolutely not.
The Israeli hostages would still be being held over there in Israel and by Hamas. And, we would not have this resurgence of Pax Americana around the United States. There.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. And it's funny, like just around our community, I know you're out of town now, but around our community, like just being out, the vibe of people. You're like, hey man, did you watch the inauguration? How about Trump coming in? Where normally like people were weird and didn't really want to talk about it because they weren't sure. And now all of a sudden, everyone's like, fuck yeah, let's roll.
I can't tell you how many people walked up to me and asked me if I watched that round table. How many people watched a round table with a bunch of political people sitting around?
In the middle of
that round table in Los Angeles was amazing.
I did not see it because, like I said, I was
but among those who had the opportunity to watch it. But you know who was on the Sunday show this morning was on CNN was Pritzker from Illinois, the governor there.
Yeah,
and he's talking about how he's going to stand up to Trump for those, and these are the people that he wants to support, the law-abiding undocumented. So the people that are here illegally. But, according to J.D. Pritzker, not committing any crimes. Those are the ones that he's going to stand up for.
Oh, okay. Well, he's nothing more than Chris. He's a Chris Christie clone for all intents and purposes. The guy
pretty much.
Guy is
as fat as says Christie. I wonder who's fatter. Who's fatter, Pritzker or Christie?
Those two guys going toe to toe in a freaking sumo wrestling match would be something to watch. I think
if you had to do an over under, how many junior bacon cheeseburgers from Wendy's they get over under for each one?
I'm saying 7, 8.
Yeah.
7, 8.
It's probably
easy.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
That's actually exactly where I was going to go. So.
I mean, we got to be realistic, right?
Oh, and a bowl and a cup of chili.
No, I just wanted to make sure we got to that point because I think that was one of the biggest late-breaking news stories of today before we get to the housekeeping items, because seriously, that shit like this, the left was running with, I saw it online. The left was running, and I saw some great. Did you see? I mean, there've been some wonderful freaking the memes that are going around the internet are just breaking records.
Oh,
the left has just been, he's a cowboy and he got his feelings hurt and he's reacting. He's going to start World War III. First of all, I'm not very worried about Colombia invading the United States militarily. Right. So I don't think that's a big threat.
Pretty good on that end, yeah.
And secondly, you know what? We don't have to start World War III because we have the biggest weapon of all, and it's economics, the economy of the United States. People want to do business with the United States. And the prior administration never, ever could or did grasp that basic nugget of information.
I don't know if you're looking at your screen or not.
I can't read it. What does it say?
That is a picture of Gavin Newsom's hand after he shook hands with Trump.
We know it's fake, but it's still funny as shit.
It is funny as shit.
Dan said to me, I was like, oh, yep, I like it.
I like it.
So a public service announcement, we talked earlier about the White House Spanish language website being shut down. If you are concerned about that and you still want to get your fill of Spanish language, there's a website called the Mexican Word of the Day. And the great thing about Mexican Word of the Day, are you familiar with this website, Andrew?
I'm pretty sure I've seen many, many pictures from the Mexican Word of the Day.
But the great thing about this website is they give you a word every day, and then they use that word in a sentence so you can put that word in context. For instance, and I'll try to use my Mexican accent here because I think it works better.
Oh God, this is gonna be good with
a Mexican accent. Mexican Word of the Day: blueberry. The roof of my house is gone. That wind blew very hard.
Oh my God.
Mexican word of the day, ice mocha. I have a bad memory because I smoke a lot of weed.
Jeez. I don't know what's worse.
Mexican word of the day, chicken finger. My wife says she doesn't need me because chicken finger herself. Mexican word of the day, Alaska. I want to go home. I want to go to the bar without my homies. So Alaska, more lady, if it's okay. Mexican word of the day is Acosta. Jim got to do the news from Acosta Street.
Did you just stumble upon this?
This is fucking hilarious. Mexican word of the day, herpes. We cut the burrito in half. That way I could have my piece and she could have her piece.
Jesus Christ.
It goes on and on and on. It's hilarious.
I can't believe it. You just
Dan, I think we need a couple more trips to a Mexican restaurant so you can work on your accent a little bit more.
Mexican word of the day, wheelchair. Juan and me only have one taco, but it's okay, wheelchair.
Jesus Christ.
Being a Drinking Bros follower, as soon as I saw wheelchair, I was like, "Oh, fucking Greg Abbott, fucking wheelchair." They're always like wheelchair.
Oh my God!
Oh shit! Oh, you had this one. You had this one up. What do you want to say about that one?
Oh, JD Vance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is JD Vance, and he was on with this. What is this gal's name? She's the reporter from. He was a CBS morning show. And I forget her name, but she was trying to pin him down. Yeah, the one thing that the left has been saying about this week, well, it's not going to do anything to lower grocery prices. It's not going to do anything to make your life better. Donald Trump promised this during the campaign, and he's not really fulfilling that promise. And this is where this gal was trying to go today with JD. Not a good tact on JD.
I'm going to try not to get the echo in this one. I apologize for the.
A lot of things that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things to lead to an increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course, of course.
Those things. When do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
A lot of things that contributed to higher energy prices, and there was.
So that's why I love JD Vance. I mean, JD Vance, he doesn't get rattled by any of this stuff. You know, these people think that JD Vance is some Midwestern rube, you know, still wet behind the ears. And they forget, you know, when JD Vance ran for the Senate here in Ohio, I mean, he went through the ringer because of all the stuff he had said previously about Trump. So he's faced the tough questions. He's been under fire, you know, for years now when he ran for the Senate. So he doesn't cower to these people at all. And as good as Donald Trump gives it, I think JD Vance gives it almost as good.
Oh yeah,
look,
I mean, it's nuts and bolts shit right there. This has to work for this has to work, and this has to work. So
yeah, but the way JD Vance cuts through the bullshit and answers the questions and disarms these people never ceases to amaze me. And I can very easily remember, because it was just a few short years ago, JD Vance came to our local Republican club and answered some questions about his prior comments about Donald Trump, and he was seeking the endorsement to win in the primary. He was seeking your vote in the primary, and he actually ended up carrying the state, won the primary, and the rest is history. And now look where he's at. We have got a guy that is competently and really doing a great job and handling the press, and he's being a great vice president in only 7 short days, and he's not uncomfortable in the role. That's the best thing. He looks very comfortable in his skin, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Not like he's sitting there. Could you imagine? Let me ask you a question. Just compare and contrast. Could you imagine Tim Walz sitting there in that situation?
Oh fuck.
I mean,
Please,
first
no.
of all, his eyeballs would be about to bust
Oh,
out of
my
his head.
God.
He'd be flailing his hands all over the place, talking about some DEI crap or whatever, not having a clue of what he's talking about, trying to placate some of his one of his core constituency groups. JD Vance just speaks facts, and he laughs when the press tries to maybe, like you said, trap him into an answer or maybe catch a gotcha question. I think he's 2 steps ahead of every reporter that's ever interviewed him since in 7
absolutely.
days. And it shows, and they don't know how to handle him. And I think he's going to prove to be one of the more competent and popular and active vice presidents that we're going to remember seeing in our lifetime. And I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with coming up here in 4 years.
Absolutely.
Yes, I completely agree. And I know me, you, and Dan have talked, and I've talked with other people. Ideally, Trump does his thing. He's got 4 years left. He does his thing. Hopefully, Vance can continue that run.
Mm.
I mean, we have, potentially at least 12 years.
It is, but
Potentially.
Let's be honest. In politics, 4 years is a lifetime.
It never works. Yeah, it never works out that way. I'm just saying, just
anything can happen. However, you're exactly right. If the stars align and things keep going, or at least the way they should go, or the ways we perceive them to go, we could have a 12-year run of at least holding the White House. God knows about the other 2 branches of government, right, because voters are fickle. But here in Ohio, we stepped up. We unelected Sherrod Brown. We elected Bernie Moreno. Now, sliding into the spot that was filled by J.D. Vance is obviously John Husted. And need I remind you, without those, we had not only 1 vote, not 2 votes for Ohio, but J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote to have Pete Hegseth elected or selected as the confirmed as the defense secretary. So Ohio is contributing in ways that people don't really maybe appreciate, but we have some great representation in Washington, D.C. right now. And I'm very, very happy that, at least our 2 Southern congressmen that I like to, mention, Warren Davidson and David Taylor, we are doing well in Southern Ohio. And I think that we should be proud for the job that we've done in Ohio in general, because without those 3 votes, Donald Trump would not get to have this. First of all, he wouldn't have the vice president in J.D. Vance. And secondly, he wouldn't have the support that he has of the whole state, and reliably so, of Ohio, and getting his agenda done.
And now potentially working toward Vivek.
Yeah, that's going to be,
that's the governor. Potentially.
Buddy, that's going to be. Let me say this. That's early.
It's way early.
We have David Yost. We have we have
Frank LaRose.
Frank LaRose will probably be in there. It's going to be a little bit of a crowded field, but that's what the primaries are for. So let the games begin.
But name recognition will get you very, very far. Let's be honest.
I'll say this though. There's some people I've seen. Let's bring it back a little local. So we're in Hamilton County. You guys know that. Obviously, we're in a suburb of Hamilton County. National politics are what they are, but we have a race here, and we don't live in Cincinnati, but people think we do. People that aren't from here think, well, you live in Cincinnati. I'm like, no, can't vote there, blah, 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 blah. But the Republican Party in Cincinnati, we have a mayor's race coming up. I saw where Aftab announced he was running for re-election. You guys saw it as well. I'm sure Dan did. And we discussed it, and it is frustrating that, we can't seem to find a competent, somebody that's even wants to put their name in the hat to say, I'll challenge, Aftab to have a discussion, because I think Dan is right. I think the time is right that maybe something could happen in the city of Cincinnati. Do I think it's possible? Maybe from an outside shot, maybe at least it would help to have the discussion, and that would be a healthy thing. But it's not the party's fault that no one wants to stand up to run. I mean, it's not like we have, a Rolodex and you say, oh, what month is this? It's July. Call Bill. His number's up. He'll serve. He'll run for office. That's just not the way it works. I did send a message out, and I hadn't heard back. You know, I would be a big fan, and I'm not trying to put him on the spot in any way, shape, or form. But you know who I'd like to see run for mayor? Because I think it'd be a great discussion. I think he'd do a great job because I think he's very smart, and I think he would keep his name relevant, and I think he'd bring a lot to the discussion. Christopher Smitherman. I think Christopher Smitherman would be a great run for mayor. I really do. And I think the Republican Party would happily endorse Chris Smitherman if he would take the endorsement.
I think they would, but he's a registered independent.
I understand that.
Chris Smitherman, he's got a lot of great ideas. He's been in city government. He's got great name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And he's super smart. He can deal with all the issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe if he got the proper backing, maybe if he, if the support was there to line up. But I just think this is a great time to strike while the iron is hot. And it's never going to be hotter than when Trump is in office. And I think it's got to be the job of the Republican Party to catalog all the things that are going to prosper and go well in the city of Cincinnati. And I think the city of Cincinnati is going to wind up being a lot better off after what is I guess the election for mayor is going to be, is that going to coincide with the midterms in 2 years from now or a year and a half?
Something
I'm
like
not
that.
exactly sure when
I'm
it
not
is.
exactly
Anyway,
sure.
But
I mean, people are peppering me with questions of, who are the Republicans putting up? I'm like, man, I don't know who's even stepped into the ring.
No one even ran last. There wasn't even a Republican that ran last time.
I'm well aware. I'm just saying
but I'm saying if they did things the right way, because I think Cincinnati's going to wind up being a lot better off after 4 years of Trump in office than it has been with 4 years of Biden in office. I think that's a time, and I think at a time like this, people who are hardcore Democrat voters there may be an opening there. There may be an opportunity there to catch their attention, and because of what Trump is doing in office, and they're going to see that he's not a dictator, he's not a totalitarian, he's not Hitler. And once people realize that and get away from all this spoon feeding of negative stuff about Trump that they've seen, maybe they'll be able to open their eyes to what's really going on at City Hall, because City Hall is just being run into the ground right now.
Oh, it's
and all the Democrats that are running the show there.
It's a clown show, and I'll say this: if you need no further evidence of that, I'd like to just ask some of the poor people in the city of Cincinnati that probably still have snow on their streets.
Probably,
if they feel like their tax dollars are being well spent by the people downtown. I'll just leave that out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? If Donald Trump has shown one thing to the voters and to the Republican Party in general, is that, you can be a bigger tent. You can open the doors to people that, need I say RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, how many examples do you want to show? He has opened the tent, and he has welcomed people into the party that may not have felt that the Republican Party was home for them before. So I'd love to see, I really would, and I hate to throw it back, but I was just, when Dan asked me privately through a very late night text when I was wearing next to nothing, did I go too far? I think I went too far.
No, I don't think you went far enough, actually.
Yeah. So anyway,
thanks for that visual.
Well, I mean, I was racking my brain trying to think of, okay, who of the people I know, first of all, that live in the city, okay, that you got to get that one out of the way first. That's the first hurdle. And that are, politically active, that could mount, maybe had just a minuscule amount of name ID that can mount a campaign to be a candidate for mayor. I mean, his name just filtered to the top, and I was like, I don't know. He may say, screw this, I don't want to do it. I'm done with politics. That's probably, I would suspect that's probably what his attitude would be. But I have no clue. I mean, maybe the Hamilton County Republican Party could go through, the precinct executives in the city and see if any of them have the capability to run for mayor. But it is that, you just can't just throw a body into it. It's got to be someone that's moderately competent and can speak, because he's going to have to carry a lot of his own water. You know what I mean? He's going to have to sell his own brand. And if he doesn't, it's going to be an uphill battle, because funding is going to be very, very difficult, because people don't want to waste money and give to a candidate when they think that the foregone conclusion is a waste of time.
Yeah, but if we, if we lived in a sane world, it would be easy to look at Aftab Purval and say, what has this guy done to deserve another term? And in my way of thinking, he hasn't done anything.
No question.
Tampaid.
Yeah,
That's my way of thinking.
Let's go ahead and talk about our buddy Rick Barrick, because he's a great sponsor of the show. And when it comes time to borrow money, doesn't matter who you are, there can always be questions. And we'd like to suggest that you consider our friend Rick Barrick. He's been helping thousands of people unlock the financing potential of their homes for more than 26 years. His experience is second to none, and so is Cross County Mortgage. So Rick and Cross County Mortgage, which is the second, my bad, Cross Country Mortgage, the second largest mortgage company in America. They combine to offer solutions for every borrower. If you're talking about a new home purchase, a refinancing, a low interest home equity line of credit, Rick has all the options tailored to your unique situation. And if that involves maybe a credit score that's been challenging in the past, or maybe trouble getting a loan, talk to Rick, see how he can help you out. Check out the number. It's on your screen, 513-383-2923, or you can email Rick, rick.barrick@ccm.com. You do that, and you are just one step away from a personalized mortgage solution.
NMLS 18738.
The fact that you remember that, I was waiting to see, since you're not here in the studio. I was waiting to see.
Let me explain something to you. I'm just as sharp remotely as I am there. Okay. The only thing is that
you don't sound as sick as you did at the start of the show, so I'm glad about that.
You're autistic as fuck. I get it.
Well,
138 toothpicks.
My voice is getting stronger. I think this political banter has strengthened my otherwise weakened immune system, and I find the virus is fleeing in fear of my political talk.
I love that for you.
So you can call me the auditory version of ivermectin. All right.
and you're welcome. You're welcome for sending you the link, so that way we could get you better.
Well, I didn't know. I was like, he said he was going to send it. I had like my fancy ear. Look, I almost have Dan Carroll earphones on. Look at that.
Well, those are your like your, what do they call them? Turtle Bay headsets.
Turtle Beach right there.
Turtle Beach.
Oh. Yeah,
that's what those look like. Gaming headsets.
I'm not a gamer.
You gonna play a little Call of Duty after this or what?
Dude, I haven't played Call of Duty in probably 20 years. They
still play
that?
I might download it tonight.
That's about a bad idea.
Feels with her mom and her daughter having a girls' night. I might fucking game. Be a big loser.
There's another football game on tonight that you have to watch to make sure that your bets come through.
I know.
How is it looking on your first round?
Not looking great for the one slip.
Okay.
I got 2 more slips to go.
All right.
But we appreciate everybody that's tuned in. We have not discussed our next show, but obviously we're going to throw something up this week. We just got to get our schedules together and get Andrew healthy back into Cincinnati.
Well, I think
being exiled.
I think my self-imposed exile is going to come to an end, because I'm feeling stronger and stronger every day. But you're welcome for me sparing your lives, because had this hit you, both of you would be calling 911 right now. You'd probably have to dial it with your tongue. You'd be so weakened.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You're adorable.
Blah,
you're
blah,
adorable.
Blah. And my dogs now at the end of the show, an hour of me blathering.
They're worn out.
Put them sound. They're both comatose, laying right next to me.
They're like, Dad, shut the fuck up.
Would you shut up? We just want to sleep.
No, Andrew, I'm glad you're able to link in and come in remote. Love it.
Great hosting by the host there.
We're trying. I fucked it all up, but
I know. And Jason, I'm upset with it. I didn't even get a chance to get to this headline today.
Oh shit! Well, say it.
You say it.
You say it.
New York City high school teacher masturbated on camera after students left remote class. Profiles.
You know that brings up a subject. You know what I saw?
Oh God, I have to pee. I have to pee.
Hold on
really bad.
Who was the reporter? Because I saw a clip. They were interviewing the guy from CNN that was beaten off during the
Jeffrey Tobin.
Right, and the lady was asking him, let's just be clear. You were caught masturbating, and he's like, "Yeah, that was a mistake." I'm like, they're resurrecting this guy's career. This guy was playing with himself on a Zoom call in front of all his compatriots, and they're like,
a mistake.
It was a mistake. No, that was a choice. That was a choice. I mean,
that was a mistake.
We all make the choice.
It's so funny. If that was the leftists, and that title, that the headline was disturbing, but it just jarred that in my memory because I just saw that story today, and I was like, boy, the left just can forgive anything of their own. But God forbid a Republican or a conservative even utter the words, not do the deed, utter the words, and they want to take him and nail him to the cross because they're holier than thou.
I don't understand why you sent me this. You showed me this shit at the end. More than 100 New York City educators accused of sexual relationships, communications with students, as Department of Education finally mulls a crackdown. Oh, we're getting after it now.
Yeah, they got 100 of them. 100 of them.
Whatever happened to that lady?
That's a New York Post today.
I figured you'd have an update for the lady that set the record for the 1,000 men in 24 hours. Is there?
Not yet. I'm still doing research, Andrew.
I knew you were fixated on that story.
But we will get to it. Bonnie Blue. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of research.
So apparently we haven't hit bottom on that story yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Just we're still trying to hit bottom.
Yeah. There's still some meat on that bone.
Trump can't fix everything.
It can't be a whole lot of meat left.
Can't fix everything.
Can't fix everything.
But no, we appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will get an Instagram out to let you know when we're going next. I'll get with Dan and Andrew tomorrow. We'll get a schedule at least for this week.
We'll get something going this week.
We appreciate you. We love you. Remember, download, rate, review, do all the things. You know what to do.
And don't masturbate on camera.
And don't masturbate on camera.